Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome to the last day, day 5 of Black Student Success Week. I am so happy to be with you today. This has been a great week. The originals, Dr. Helen Young and Herb English, and we also have the leaders of the new school, Dr. Huffman and Carl Kemp. Just want to ask Pilar and Carl, coming to you first. How did you enjoy obviously hosting this week, but how did you enjoy the week?
It's been an amazing week, first starting with, being able, I know we were told, just so the folks at home know, this animosity was all staged by the Vince McMahon of Black Student Success, Dr. Keith Curry. He said, y'all get in there and mix it up. We really love each other.
Yes,
Yes, we do.
And it's been
Yes, we do.
a real honor to serve with you all. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to Dr. Curry and all the other folks who helped create Black Student Success Week. I'm really humbled to have been asked, and I'm going to leave this week really filled up in ways that not only surprised me, but I think equipped me for what is to come with this administration and some of the things that I thought when I was taught about the I Have a Dream speech would be a reality by now. I didn't know that we were going to go from dream to nightmare, but this is girding me up for that battle. And with capable folks like Dr. Pilar Huffman on the battlefield with me, representing the new school, I know that we're going to win. And with all of the students and faculty and staff from campus to campus, I have no doubt that we're prepared for the future. And I just want to thank also all the individual institutions who have committed, like our president here at Long Beach City College, not only in words, but with money to Black student success, as well as the Chancellor's office for helping coordinate, pay for, and make this thing a reality. It's just been a real honor.
Thank you so much, Carl. And it was a blessing to work with you, brother. Thank you. Pilar.
Just in short, this has been a blessed week for me. Right now I'm listening to I'm on a new level because I feel as though I know I'm not alone. Like, it's different when we know that we work with amazing people, but when we come together, I think I said this to someone yesterday, this feels like a family reunion. Like, we're meant to be here. And I hope that the students and the practitioners alike understand that you are not alone. We are united. And as long as we remember that we're together as a collective, we're that much stronger. But more importantly, I'm inspired to know that I have work to do. and that the work that I'm doing means something to somebody. So as long as I'm drawing from other people and I'm filling other people up with motivation and inspiration, I know that this is work that needs to be done. So as a first gen and representing so many people, my ancestors, I am proud to say that I am Black and that I am here, and we're here to make impact in this system and in this whole in United States and in the world. All right, we're here to do work, to do magic, because that's what we do. So thank y'all.
Thank you.
And shout out to the OGs. I think hands down, you guys were the best dressed. All right, I'll give it to you. You guys were the best dressed. All right, we're gonna try to do better next time, Carl. We'll do better. But thank you all for this opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Curry. This means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Huffman. Appreciate you and enjoyed working with you this week. Dr. Young, before I come to you, I just have been inspired this week, and one segment really sticks out to me, and it was the segment with our student Ruth. Ruth
Absolutely.
came from Haiti by way of San Diego, and she really talked about opportunities. The community college provided her with opportunities. But I want to come to you because you and your husband are literally creating opportunities for students very, very early. So before you go into your assessment of this week, can you please tell us briefly about what you do for students in the summer?
Thank you, Dr. Herb. For 25 years, my husband and I, William Allen Young, the famous actor, the father of Moesha, but the heart of a giant, has been running a nonprofit, the Young Center, for 25 years. And we provide an opportunity for students to hone their voices. You don't just come to this work that we've been doing out of accident. It takes preparation, it takes engagement. And that is exactly what we do through the youth think tank, the California Youth Think Tank, for 20 years. Thank you, Herb English, for coming out and supporting us every summer, where students get a chance to reside on the campus of USC, right in the hood, right where the folks are. And we open up those opportunities for students to engage in the work of developing their voice, activists, the leadership, political, whatever it is they want to do, we do that. Thank you, Herb. This week has been absolutely impactful for me. You know, you get tired as an educator. You get to moments where you're thinking, I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to hang up my hat. But then you come through a week like this and you're reminded that there's still work to do, and that if you still got breath, you still better get out there and you better engage. And so thank you, every single one of you who have participated this week. And for those coming up today, y'all, if your friend ain't in this webinar, you better call them. If your boss and those folks who work for you ain't in this webinar, you better get them on the hook. This one is going to blow you away. Take it away, Herb English.
Thank you so much. And before I come to Pilar, I have to make sure that I shout out my brothers from Amen. I'm here representing Amen, one of the organizations that are leading in this state to make sure that we focus on African American males. Quickly, before I come to Pilar, I cannot leave without shouting out my college, Riverside City College, and the leadership of this institution who allow me to be able to participate in these things that I care about and that I'm wanting to advocate for. And RCC is definitely supporting me and supporting African American students in many, many ways. So with that said, I'm going to kick it off to the new school for the logistics. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, thank you. And I think Carl got it. You got it first.
Music credits for this year's Black Student Success Week are going out to the one and only Dr. Terrence Elliott, Emeritus and Professor of Music, Hip Hop, and Black Studies at Diablo Valley College. The jams you've been listening to have been all original. The opening song is It Feels So Good, and really nothing could be more descriptive of what we're doing here. You can find all of his music on Spotify, YouTube Music, and Amazon Music. Next slide. And these are the people who helped make this thing happen with their money. We want to thank them one by one: San Diego Community College, the Los Angeles Community College District, Allen Hancock College, Compton College, Keenan, San Bernardino Valley College, the Asian Pacific American and Higher Education. We appreciate the allyship. Liebert, Cassidy, and Whitmore, the Long Beach City College, Miracosta College, Moore Park College, Mount Sac College, and the RP Group. Your dollars are making dreams come true and making this program happen. From this to the scholarships, we thank you. And here are our winners. And I think, oh, this is me. They won some merch. Gerard Eddie Bonya and Chris Whalen, Lisa Ratchford, the College of San Mateo Umoja Watch Party. I guess they all won something. And the LACCD Watch Party. Thank you for your support. We know you're out there. We hope you're getting ready for tonight's sneaker ball and enjoy today's program.
Thanks, Carl. And so shout out to the watch party. So watch parties, please, if you haven't already done so in the chat, please drop it in the chat to let us know where you're watching from. We appreciate you, we value you, and we see you. So please scan the QR code and fill that out to make sure that we track your watch party attendance. So registration is there with that QR code. Next, we have the sneaker ball after party, which Carl just mentioned. We know that you're sticking around for the after party webinar. Please do so. And you can use the QR code to get that information. And don't forget the kicks, though, for later on. The sneaker ball is happening at College of San Mateo, Long Beach City College, Merritt College, and San Diego City College. So we hope to see you there tonight. Last but not least, visit our link tree. Make sure that you have it bookmarked. We'll be posting all of this week's webinar resources, PowerPoints, recordings, and sharing this year's graphic recordings from our sketch artist, Sketch Effect. And without further ado, I am so excited to go over the agenda in brief. All right, so we're going to do the introduction of our panel moderators, our practitioner panel discussion, an executive leadership panel discussion, and then closing remarks by the legendary Dr. Keith Curry and Dr. Luke Wood. So please stick around. And I am so honored and privileged to introduce our very first set of speakers. Hopefully you know them, and if you don't, there is Dr. Antonio Banks, Dr. Nisa Savage, and Dr. Elliot Coney. So I hand it off to y'all. Thank you so much.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome everybody to the last day of Black Student Success Week. I'm not going to harp on that too much because we've heard from our amazing moderators so far. But just to give you some dialogue about what's happening today, we brought up some of the expert practitioners from across the state that are on the front lines of student success, whether it be at the community college level, the four-year level, the nonprofit level, as well as bringing on some executive leadership just to share with you about what's happening on the front lines. And we're excited for them to be here today. And I'm going to pass it off to my sister, Dr. Savage, to introduce who our panelists are going to be.
Welcome, everyone. I am Nisha Savage, representing San Diego City College, and I have the honor of introducing our practitioners. These are the soldiers on the ground who know a thing or two about the Black tax. They're the ones who are doing the invisible labor, working weekends, working nights, basically serving as mentors, program leads for our Black students. And so first up, we have Tremaine Davis. He's a program director of the Black Resource Center at California State University of Dominguez Hills. Next, we have Dr. Leah Fleming, who is the interim dean of students at Coastline College. Next, we have Dr. Jamal Merrick. He is the director of University of California, Riverside. And then next up, we have Terry Sivers, representing San Diego College of Continuing Education in my district, whoop whoop, counselor coordinator, serving as the Black Student Success Coordinator, but also supporting the Men of Color efforts at San Diego College of Continuing Education. Then we have Crystal Welch. Crystal is the Director of Cultural Learning Communities at Highline College, Then last but not least, we have Maya Williams, the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for our Umoja Community Education Foundation. And so we welcome you all to this panel.
Great. And I am Dr. Elliot Coney, and I will be asking the first question. I am excited for you all to hear from the futures of our system, and there are many other futures and people that are coming on, and we will be highlighting them moving forward as well. So to the first question, I'll bring this to my brother in San Diego State, fellow doc, Dr. Terry Sivers. How would you describe the impact that Black African American identity focused programs such as Umoja, Amend, Black Student Resource Centers have on the academic and personal trajectory of students? And I'll ask that one more time. How would you describe the impact that Black and African American facing identity focused programs such as Umoja, Amend, Black Student Resource Centers have on the academic and personal trajectory of our students?
Hey, Dr. Coney, thank you for giving me this platform. If it wasn't for folks like you, Dr. Tremaine Davis, Dr. Savage, I don't know if I'd be here today. I mean, y'all were, the three of you were influential in my development and growth as a student at different stages in my life. So again, I appreciate you. We appreciate you all. When we started this work in 2021, we had about 800 Black students at San Diego College of Continuing Education. Today, we have over 3,000. While many schools, systems are experiencing decreases in Black student enrollment, between whether that be Black men and women, we are experiencing substantial increases. Now, some of that is because of external factors, which is drawing the Black diaspora to San Diego, being that we are a border state. But if when the students get here, if we didn't take care of them, if we didn't love on them, if we didn't give them the support that they needed, they wouldn't stay. So not only are they coming, but they're referring their friends and family members to our campus to get to pursue their dreams of higher education. Like Dr. Ruth, who came to us as a medical doctor from Haiti, who we took under our love and care, and she's become a pillar not only for the peers here on campus, but for all of us, and making sure we do right by her and every student that comes through our door. The story began in 2021 when this institution took a risk taking me on as I interviewed for an adjunct position. I've had over 35 interviews, and it took basically about 35 interviews for me to get a full-time position. They say, Black men, go get a job. Go get your education, go get your degrees. We need you on these institutions. But it took 35 interviews for me to finally get a full-time position. I tried every trick in the book, but ultimately I realized I just had to be myself. And the work that I did prior to being here is what eventually allowed me this door to open in this institution, taking a risk on somebody who dared to center the lives and experiences of Black men and Black males in our society. I applied for an adjunct position here in 2021, and I talked about the work centering the stories, the lives, the experiences of Black men. And the VP at the time took a risk and said, we're creating this program for you. Now, Dr. Tina King, when she came in, she kicked the program down and said, hey, we're breaking all the rules. We're making this a full-time position. So it's the willingness for our administrators and staff here to break the rules, to create opportunities, to love on our students, that is what contributes to the success we have here at San Diego College of Continuing Education. My journey began in 2009 when I returned to community college, broke, busted, and disgusted, sleeping on my brother's house, 29 years old, lost my girlfriend, lost my house, my dreams. But I realized I was living somebody else's dream. So I sat up under the elders and the intellectuals in the Black Studies Department at San Diego Mesa College, and I said, I'm going to absorb and learn everything that you know, and I'm going to follow in your footpath, in your footsteps. That was Dr. Starla Lewis and Dr. Takima Mas at San Diego Mesa College, and I followed in their path. I knew I had to work on myself. There was intellectual and emotional damage and scars that I carried with me that would affect my work. So my journey was intentional. Majoring in Black studies to develop my intellectual skills, going into a master's program that focused on emotions to deal with my early childhood traumas related around race, having been raised by a Black father, single Black father of 3, having a white mother who left when I was a child because she didn't know how to raise Black kids. That started my journey at the age of 5 when I learned the Lord's Prayer because my mom left us at the babysitter's house and never came back. That was the first time my father taught me how to pray. So my journey begins then in these experiences and trying to understand why it was that a mother that as I said earlier, your skin trumped the blood ties that and the love that I was supposed to have between a son and a mother. But through my journey, I've met great people. I've have mothers now that I never would have had before because of these spaces. I have friends, I have brothers, I have fathers, again, many of which are on this call today. And I'm so grateful for this experience. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity to continue this legacy and continue this work to create spaces for our Black students to breathe, to survive, and thrive.
What a testimony, my brother. Thank you for that, Brother Shivers. Good doc, man. Struck several chords. So we definitely want to move this along and definitely want to be mindful of the time for everybody on this panel and the executive panel to come following. So I'm going to push this to my good brother, Tremaine Davis. You are in the CSU system. So your same question is, how do you describe the impact of Black-facing programs such as student resource centers that you run on the impact of Black students?
Well, first off, I just want to say I'm so thankful to be here with you all, these incredible minds, these incredible leaders and heroes and sheroes that's on this call with us today. Just want to say thank you all so much for allowing me to be here. To answer the question, I think like along with everything else in this country, what works good for Black folk works good for everybody. So when we talk about putting in programs that are here to serve and to be an intricate role in helping retention rates or engagement rates for Black students and graduation rates for Black students, we will be selling those programs short if we don't also recognize the impact those programs has for everyone else. So I think it is very vital and for us to understand, especially in this leadership of the country that we're in now, about the important role and the historical roles of how these have been always important from the beginning of time, from when we first started our CSU's initiatives to where we are now, to back in 1996 when California became a Proposition 209 state that said, hey, you can't use race and all this other stuff. For us to still to be able to still have programs that benefit not only our community, which we know these benefit our communities, but also how they impact the campus as a system-wide thing is something very powerful. So this work that we're doing, it enriches the very foundations that we serve in because it helps everyone becomes aware of how do you talk about students from a holistic standpoint. These terminologies about holistic practices that didn't come from the ideologies of those folks who have the opposite complexions as we do. That came directly from us. So we always had a chance to, an opportunity to look at us from a whole perspective, and then how do we put that in practice is by the things that we do day in and day out. So I hope that answers the question, but it's really been a great benefit to our campus to serve Black students, because by serving Black students, we're serving our entire campus populations.
Amazing. And thank you for that CSU perspective. I'm going to pass it to my big sister and someone that I love dearly in this game, Dr. Nisha Savage, doing amazing work with Nandi and for our queen. So thank you as well. Question two.
Thank you, Dr. Coney. And so I have question number 2. And so we know that we've done a lot of good work with supporting our students. And I know that in light of Senate Bill 1348, where a lot of institutions are going to be looking to get the Black Serving Institution designation, which basically are colleges that highlight that are highlighted for making significant investments in serving Black students. And so for question number 2, and any of you can answer this, what advances have you deemed noteworthy regarding Black student success over the last 5 years? And what are some of the persistent shortcomings that you also see? Anybody can take it.
I can start that. First of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be here all the way from the state of Washington. We have some unique opportunities here in Washington. I'm at Highline College. We have 26% Black students on our campus. And we've had Emoja on our campus for almost 10 years. And we were recently approved to have a men chapter. So I was very excited to have more opportunities for Black student success on our campus, because in Washington, there are so few identity-based focused programs for Black students, especially in this area, in the areas that we have. And so for us, it's just really important to glean on what California has created and be able to spread that a little bit wider throughout our state as well. And the services and all the things that we know that are important, because I always say it's different being Black in California than it is being Black in Washington because of our surroundings, but we still need, and our students still need those opportunities to have that experience and to be able to connect with folks that we do have Black populations here in Washington, believe it or not. And so just making sure that our students are able to connect. And if we had that designation here in Washington State, we would actually already be BSI, because we do have that 26% Black students on our campus. So we've seen great strides as far as getting more support. We just hired a new Black Student Success Program Manager in January. We just started a new Black Student Advocacy team on our campus that started in February. And so the institution is now really supporting the strives of Black student success in Washington State. So lots of developments happening.
Thank you, Crystal. And Dr. Banks, take it over.
Yeah, I love the responses that you've all provided. Hey, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Maya Williams. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Umoja Community Education Foundation. And the advances that I have deemed noteworthy regarding Black student success over the last 10 years, I will just start with youth participatory action research first and foremost, because when we teach students how to fish, they will feed themselves. We have to teach students and prepare students to be the self-determined members and agents that they can be. Students have to be able to activate, to speak for themselves, to think for themselves, and to fight for themselves. We're going to be there, support them, but we will not always be here, and it's not sustainable as a model to be the only ones pushing students. We have to have students empowered so that they can teach one another and operate as a collective. And so I believe that, when students have the tools, they will not let injustice go unchallenged. They will meet you at your door. Students who know how to do research as me search and operationalize the skills to organize are the students who meet our executives, meet our institutions right at their front door to create the change that we need to see in their experiences. I would also like to add that, bringing in professionals from various disciplines and lines of work and allowing them to see themselves reflected, see themselves having crossed the finish line has made a tremendous impact for Black students' success. And the village spaces, we cannot go without seeing those village spaces as making a real impact. Students need real estate. They need the nonverbal, physical reminders, physical indicators that say you are welcome here and your future is welcome here. And we're going to show you that by giving you this real estate that is a part of our campus, that is not changing, that is not moving, and it is the real representation of mattering and belonging.
Beautifully said. Thank you for that, Ms. Williams. We're going to go on to the next question, question 3, and we're going to try to keep this a little bit more succinct and tight. But I'm going to come to you first, Dr. Fleming. And the question is, how can institutions mitigate the inevitable Black tax that practitioners on the front line experience when they are focused on Black student success?
Definitely. So when we talk about Black tax, we often hear folks say, well, just take time off or just don't do that, work less, right? But we know for Black folks, the psychological weight and the stressors that we experience working in institutions with others, right? We're going to do the work regardless. So we're going to be taxed because we feel like we have to show up 10 times harder. We have to work harder. So what I'm saying is, okay, we get taxed. We need a refund, right? So what does that look like for us, right? That includes days off, additional pay, stipends, creating spaces, infinity spaces so that we can have community, so that we can revive, connect, to be with one another while we're doing this. So at the end of the day, the Black tax, we know that we're going to have to pay it, right? We are the ones we're chosen. We want it to be us in the room. We don't want it to be somebody else. So give us a refund. That is my advice to our executive leadership. Pay us what we're worth. Give us that space. Give us those resources so that we can make a way to continue to be who we are for our Black students here.
Thank you for that, Dr. Fleming. Dr. Mark, any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, just real quick. In addition to what Dr. Fleming just shared, also recognizing and redistributing this responsibility across all staff and leadership. So ensuring that these Black folks who are taking their time to support our Black scholars, that they're not doing it alone, and really honoring what Dr. Fleming said too, we need to figure out ways, institutions need to figure out ways to water the people who are watering the roses that grew from concrete. Thank you.
Woo, amazing, getting chills. So we're going to circle to question 4 and lead into our exec panel. So please do, keep that in mind as we keep this tight to get through to Dr. Curry and Dr. Wood. So I'm going to close out with question 4, and we can have you continue, Jamal, and we can also bring in Maya or Leah as we see fit, or anybody that feels compelled and short to answer that. Please feel free to do so. What do you envision at the inception of Black serving institutions in terms of lifting up and leveling up Black student success? Again, what do you envision at the inception of Black serving institutions in terms of lifting up, leveling up Black student success?
Yeah,
anybody can take that.
Oh, I can do it real quick. So I think it's twofold. So first is affirming our Black scholars and Black staff and faculty who are doing this work, affirming their identity, the culture, and the community that's creating these systems of support for many of our Black scholars throughout all of our institutions. And when I'm thinking about leveling up, I'm thinking, yes, about scholar success. That's cool, but also holding these institutions accountable for what they're saying, and not just when it's cool and when it's in style, but even beyond.
Thank you. Anyone next?
Yes, yes. I would say the first thing that comes to mind when speaking of lifting up, we need to lift up grace, understanding, and a God level of forgiveness. We are a people who have been traumatized, deranged, abused, a people suffering from anxieties, who have been fighting wars and struggling together. We owe it to one another to give grace and to seek understanding and to forgive each other while we're doing this work. We cannot afford to get these Black serving institutions and work together and decide to throw each other away when there is difficulties or friction. Second thing I think needs to be lifted up is the African Black epistemology. We have to lift up our own ways of knowing. When we address what we consider as a valid way of knowing, then we take the lid off of what our students can know, and we delimit how they can know. And so validating the students' experiences, validating the oral tradition of storytelling is valid because your grandma told you. It's valid because you saw what happened when your homie experienced it. It's valid because your gut is telling you. It's valid because it's happening in your spirit. We have to uplift these African epistemologies, these Black epistemologies, if this is the way that we're going to reach success through the academy. And finally, those are the two things I say lift up. To level up, we need to level up these student success metrics and outcomes for Black students altogether, for teachers, for course evaluations, and for students. Let's shift the question from just knowing that Black students are succeeding to knowing if Black students are getting it, to knowing that Black students are having a fulfilling time, to knowing that Black students are actually being serviced, if practitioners and instructors are serving well. If we're going to be doing these Black serving institutions, we have got to change the way that we are evaluating what the good thing looks like.
Amazing. Amazing. And we'll close out one with your hand up, Tremaine, and then we'll move on to the transition.
Thank you.
1 minute or less, my brother. 1 minute.
Oh, I got you. I'm real brief on this one. I think the one thing that we definitely need to make sure happens with this whole Black Serving Institute is that we operate around unity. We operate around coming together. I'm tired of silos. I'm tired of the work of one. I'll give you an example, right? So we know since our brother, who we getting ready to hear from, Brother Luke Wood, has gotten to Sac State, things have changed around. I hear a lot of people complaining about that. And the things that I say to those folks is like, don't get mad about that, get inspired by it. Right. So I think there needs to be more work around unisons, right? If I know that your community college feeds into my 4-year college, why are we not working together to ensure that continues to attract and make sure that door stays open? Not every single institution is going to get that serving institutes div, yes, but that doesn't mean that every institution does not have the responsibility to work for and be there for Black students. So what are we, the ones that have that gold standard that's going to get that institute service, what are we going to do to help those institutions that don't? So I think unity is going to play a big part in that.
Solid. Over to my brother Antonio to highlight the next part of this panel. Over to you, my brother.
Beautifully said. Thank you for our panelists, fire practitioners across the state and across the nation that are doing the work. What we're going to do right now is transition to our executive leadership panel. And again, this is supposed to help as the connective tissue, right? You see the people that are on the front lines, practitioners doing the day-to-day with students and uplifting our Black student success. These are the people in those executive cabinet meetings, right? The people making the executive decisions. And so Dr. Savage, can you please introduce our esteemed panel for today?
So first up, we have Janelle Williams Melendrez, who is the Executive Officer for Equity and Engagement at Southwestern College. Then we have Dr. William Sims, who's the Vice President of Student Services, Enrollment Management and Equity Initiatives at West Los Angeles College. And then last but not least, we have Dr. Kelly Butler, who is the Superintendent President for Solano Community College. Welcome, panelists.
Let everybody get in, see those beautiful faces. Okay, so I'll ask question one as we come in, and this first question is going to be to my good sister, Janelle. What do you believe is the role of members of executive leadership in ensuring Black student success as essential to the campus mission and ethos?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm honored to be a part of this illustrious panel and to be a part of this great work. I think the first thing I would say is listen and support the practitioners. We just heard the brilliance on the panel just before us and all of the goodness that they're sharing for us to do. And so listen and support them, provide them with the resources they need, the compensations, and the spaces for thriving. So I would say that number one. Number two, I would say that we need to make sure that our mission, our vision, and our values are in alignment with Black student success. This also includes our policies and procedures and making sure that they can do what I call put in place our in this place rule. So then when we see violations or things that work against Black student success, we can point to our mission, we can point to our vision, we can point to our policies and say, in this place, we don't do this, or in this place, we do that because, right? And so allows us to do that. I will be concise because I know we have a lot of great wisdom on this panel, so I'll just share one more thing, and that is about our budgets. Our budgets are value statements. And so making sure that the programs that we have, the funding that we're using is not soft funding only that's supporting Black student success, so that we don't have practitioners who are looking every year for new funding and how they're going to make this program happen, but it is on solid funding, so we can say 100% that we are supporting Black students, and we want to see that they are 100%, as my colleague, Dr. Jonathan Henderson, mentioned yesterday, that those gaps are closed and that 100% of our Black students can succeed. So I'll start there.
Ooh, cooking, my queen, cooking. She said, what is your value proposition? Where that money at? Moving on to my good Dr. Butler, newest president in the Bay Area, Solano College. Congratulations on that. Please come in and I'll reframe the question. What do you believe is the role of members of executive leadership in ensuring Black student success is essential to the campus mission and ethos?
No, it's really a lot of what Janelle has said already. And so I'll just add on top of that. It's really important that we take it from just the mission, the vision, right, to the action. How are we holding one another accountable? How are we actually using frameworks to reassess who's not in the room, who hasn't had access, who isn't able to access these resources or these benefits? We have to be very intentional about this work. We have to make sure we have the right people working on our campuses. Not everybody is supposed to be doing this work. We need to really pay attention to how we're supporting our students, who is in those roles supporting our students. And people always say hurt people, but what about people who are fulfilled? People who are supported, people who have purpose. Those people give purpose to our students. Those people fulfill our students. And so we really need to do the work and make sure we're investing in those who are called to do this work. Everybody's not meant to do it, and I'll keep saying that because our students are often hurt or left behind. And if we can invest in our students, invest in those frontline practitioners that we heard from earlier, make sure they have the resources, make sure they have have the support, the professional development, make sure they have our backup, right? When people come at them, make sure we're there to support them and say, nope, I asked them to do that work. I asked them to support our students. And that's how our students succeed. They see us supporting them. The students want to succeed because they know that we are there for them and we're going to support them all along the way and help wrap around and be there for them. It's so easy for us to kind of say, you know, this is what we're about, but it's really difficult when you have to say, show me. I want to see what you're doing. And so it's really important to invest in those people because most of the work here at Solano, it's going on, but I'm investing in the people doing the work. And so highlighting those programs like Amen, we have a new program, Girl, Yes You Can, where we're going to be supporting women in doing this work. And so we really want to highlight those professionals who have the lived experience to connect to our students. And I believe it was Mia, I can't remember, but let's be good at accepting those Black lived experiences where it's valid because my gut tells me, it's valid because my spirit don't feel right. I love that because that's how we live, that's how we guide. And I think that is a great way that we can navigate these spaces because sometimes my spirit just don't feel right with this and what's going on in this room. And so I know I need to navigate differently. I know I need to bring different people in on my team. And so I think that's really going to be important as we move forward and continue to do this work and do this work successfully.
Ashe. Over to you, Tina. I'm sorry, over to you, Nisha. You got
Okay.
confused. So there you go.
Thank you for that. We know that as members of the executive leadership, you're often asked like the hard questions. My president shared today, we're having a conversation about the Black Serving Institution designation. And, you know, folks are asking, well, why? Why are we making all of these investments in, you know, serving Black students? And his response was, because we can. And so the next question is, you know, what are some of the successful strategies you have applied in ensuring that the message is you know, gets across to the entire campus, you know, while also addressing their concerns, but talking about the success of those in practitioner roles as we try to continue to uplift and level up in terms of our campus?
So I think one of the greatest opportunities that I've had, and you know, I got this message from Dr. Ed Bush, is tell the story. Case making never ends. It doesn't matter what your position is. It doesn't matter who you are. You have to constantly be talking about the work and sharing the data around the work that tells the story of why this is necessary, why this change has to happen, why we need to put more resources into it. And as we talk about the allocation of budgets and other things, telling the story or case making really is the strength of that conversation because we move these things through academic senates, through college councils, through other bodies in our institutions. And so by having a story that is told, what you recognize sometimes, and when you know you're doing it right, is when people start to regurgitate your points, or when they're telling their story and they're saying you're using your words. And so that's when we know change sets in. And so, you know, my big mama would say, write it down and make it plain, right? And so be able to engage folks to be able to tell that. I think mentorship and training are the other pieces. I benefited and want to lift up people like Rebecca Cobb and several others who put me in spaces with people and introduced me to folks. And, you know, that mentorship, that intentional partnership is important. And so I think as you grow, as you lift up your folks, you have to put them in places that are going to allow them to build those relationships and continue to grow. And even, you know, I call her Tia Cynthia, but Cynthia Olivo is a great mentor of mine who put me in platforms and spaces to make that possible. And so replicating that for our people really allows them to get messaging out. And when they have those relationships, you know, even if I'm a classified or hourly employee, when I have those relationships with academic senate presidents and other folks, I'm able to make that change. And it's not positional power, it's power because I do the work. I think content is king or queen in this, you know, in most cases queen because the queen moves more strategically. And so understand that when you have digestible, clear content,
that conveys your message when you're not in that room. That message can be shared, that message can be replicated, and people will adopt it as their own. And so by creating those things, whether those are infographics, videos, student stories, ensuring that the voice of the student lives in content allows that message and those things to be uplifted, and also those successes to be heralded across not just your campus, but in the system. I think I am proof of that in some of the things that we did in my early days at Pasadena, and being able to tell those stories and how I was able to meet folks across the system. And then I think most importantly, pace the pressure. As a leader, as a practitioner, as a person who does this work, I have to understand when to throttle up and throttle down, right? That accountability is a thing that's needed, but it also means I have to support. And sometimes folks need me to lift them up, and folks need me to be singing their praises. And then there's other times where we just got to get it done. And so understanding that pacing, understanding that need to speed up or slow down is what you instill in your teams. And then as your teams do that work, they're able to replicate that. And so understand they are the experts. Your job is to clear things out the way, move things, and allow them to get that stuff done.
That's right. They don't call him Timothy Hardaway for no reason. That's right. Pace the pressure, tell the story. That's right. Content is king and queen. Beautifully said. So this is the last question. We're gonna have a cook fest. We have about 4 minutes. So whoever wants to join in, please feel free. The question is, what advances in terms of Black student success have you seen from the executive leadership role over the last 3 to 5 to 10 years? And what are some of those persistent shortcomings? And how do you think the BSI, or the Black Serving Institution designation, can assist in powering past those shortcomings?
I'll go first. I wanted to just tag on one piece to the previous question. Coalition building is key, and we need to make sure that we bring the right coalitions together, because when we're not in the room, those that are in the room are going to make sure that whatever we need to happen happens. I think the successes over the years, I think one, we have more Black CEOs. I mean, just the representation matters. And we know this because we have experienced it. Our students tell us, and just seeing others in these positions makes a difference. And not only do we have more in the seats, but we are working together. So we've come together, we meet regularly, we talk about what's going on, we strategize, we coordinate. And so I think we have strength in numbers, and we have support for one another. So when things get crazy, we know we have someone to go to and to back us up. I think we also can identify, again, I can't say this enough, the people who are called to do this work. Good friend, now dean at Sac City College. A lot of people want the praise of doing this work, but don't want to experience what it means to get down in the weeds and do this work. They want all of the rhythm and none of the blues. And we need to make sure that when we want to do this work, we got to get in this work and do this work, because it's not easy. And we need to be able to have those support systems that are gonna be like, yep, that was crazy. Nope, don't do that. People like Ed Bush, people like Regina Stanback Stroud, people who can come to our support and provide us that insight, people who can support us along the way, and people who can help direct us right to those areas where we know like this is gonna work, this may not work, how to strategize in those spaces. And then I think the Black serving institutions is going to be huge, because we need that indication that our Black students are important. We belong here. We are supposed to be here. This is our college. These are community colleges. When we're in this is where we're supposed to be. And so it's not just about Black serving student designation. Is not about just getting students to completion. It's about making sure we have communities that are making living wages, that are creating ecosystems of Black people doing well. And I think about a lot of what's going on in the world right now, and people say it's not because when you include Black people, the bar is raised. When you include Black people, excellence is observed, and people realize that everybody who has previously been perceived to be doing excellent is not doing excellent. If everybody's not succeeding, excellence hasn't been achieved. But when you bring in Black people, we're trying to bring everybody to the table. We're trying to make sure everybody is succeeding. And that is what the differentiator is. And when you highlight Black serving institutions, you're going to see more of that. We have the Black Honors College at Sac State. We will create more of that. We need to create more pipelines, more ecosystems, bring in some employers, bring in employers who are dedicated to serve our students in these communities. And that's the only way we will continue to thrive and succeed. And they need us as Black people, as Black leaders, Black educators for the success of our communities to happen.
I
I
love
would add in real quick that the creation inside of the California Community Colleges of the Chief Diversity Officer, going by a number of names like Officer of Equity and Engagement, but bringing that into the California Community Colleges has been a real win. Even though the government has named our position as one that is one that should be gotten rid of, I think that only tells you how much of a threat they perceive us to be. And so having those positions in there, and I just want to lift up organizations like Nandi and Amend, who are just focused on making sure that Black students and Black people in our system succeed. I know that when I show up to Nandi and there are hundreds of Black women who are in a space, there's something that transforms me, right? There's when I go to Ghana with Amend and our community, there's something that transforms me, and I get to bring that back with me, and it changes the way I do my work. And so I think that is something that is a real win for us as an organization across the state, and something that we should, definitely as executive leaders continue to support and move forward. And then I'll say one last thing. I think it's important as we're looking at our wins. I think for me, when we are deeply grounded in our purpose, regardless of the threats that are that are there to try and recruit us to move away from this work, that we are bold and stay firmly rooted in advancing our purpose. And so that is a win. The more we do that, the more we know we're going to win, the faster we'll get there.
Beautifully said. That's the boldness. Give it up for our executive leadership panel. We appreciate your wisdom, your insights, the gems that you dropped. And with that, we're going to pass it back off to the original, none other than Dr. Helen Young.
Thank you, Dr. Coney, Dr. Savage, and Dr. Banks. Y'all brought it. Thank you so much. I am privileged to introduce our final two speakers. I get emotional when I think about these two people because they represent all that is good in higher ed for Black folks. Dr. Keith Curry, President and CEO of Compton College, and Dr. Luke Wood, President for Sacramento State. Take it away, gentlemen.
Okay, there we go. Well, it's good to see everyone, and thank you so much for allowing myself and President Curry to be part of this important conversation. So my name is Luke, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president of Sacramento State, part of the California State University system. And we're going to be talking about the Black Serving Institution designation. So what I want to do is first kind of lay out a framework of what has been accomplished here in California. So if you think about institutions that are designed to serve Black students, what first comes to mind are historically Black colleges and universities. In order to qualify to be an HBCU, you have to be established before the 1964 Civil Rights Act. So as a result, all of the HBCUs are in the South and Northeast because that was the expansion of universities across the country. There is another designation that is not based solely on mission, but based solely on enrollment. And that's what's called a predominantly Black institution, a PBI. And a PBI, in order to qualify for a PBI, it's very similar to the designation for a Hispanic serving institution or for an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution. It's based on enrollment. So for a university to be designated as an Asian Pacific Islander serving institution, 10% of your students need to be from that community. For an institution to be designated as a Hispanic serving institution, 25% of your students need to be from the Latinx community. But for a university or college to be designated as a predominantly Black institution, it requires 40% of the student body to be part of the Black community. So you basically have these two different types of minority serving institutions. Your mission-based institutions like your HBCUs and your tribal colleges, where their mission, their historical focus, their founding is focused on serving Black and Native American students. Or you have to have an enrollment focus where you have at least 10%, 25%, or respectively for the Black population, 40% of your students who identify as Black. But if you overlay the institutions that are HBCUs on a map with those that are predominantly Black institutions, what you'll find is that they're all in the same states, meaning that there is no predominantly a Black serving institution, whether a PBI or an HBCU, in the Western or Midwestern United States. So nearly more than half of the country does not have institutions that are designed to serve this population. So at Sacramento State, we're proud that we have the largest population of Black students in public four-year colleges and universities in the state. We have 2,523 Black students. That's more than any of the CSUs or any of the UCs. But one of the things that we wanted to do was to be clear that, and when we're talking to our Black students, that we could say something similar to what we see happening with our Latinx students and with our Asian students, which is we can say that we are here to serve you. And so as we're mulling over how we could accomplish this goal, I came across an article that was written by Dr. Keith Curry. And the article focused on highlighting Compton College as a Black serving institution, a BSI. And what I appreciated is in that article, Dr. Curry said that we are proclaiming ourselves as being a Black serving institution because we are going to be unapologetically intentional about serving Black students. And so I remember when I called Dr. Curry, I said, I just came across this article. It's amazing. It's powerful. Would you be okay if I also start using that moniker for Sacramento State, that we are a Black serving institution? And with his blessing, that started a whole chain reaction of events. And so everything that you see right now, that it's happening right now where institutions have the ability to become Black serving institutions, started with Dr. Keith Curry. Every single thing that you're seeing, every single thing that you're seeing in terms of the policy was quarterbacked by Dr. Keith Curry. And so this is a man who I admire greatly, and that takes a lot for me to say, but I admire him greatly in terms of what he's been able to do for the community. So what you have now is an opportunity for institutions to become recognized by the state of California as Black serving institutions, and it all began with Dr. Curry.
But also it had a lot of other people that was involved in this. And what we want to make sure that we highlight those individuals that was involved in this. And I'll start with Dr. Ed Bush, who is the president of Cosumnes River, who's on the call as well. He was coming on screen right now, and his interaction with the men and the work he has done with the men and with that organization. It also has to do with Dr. Frank Harris. If anybody remember, Dr. Frank Harris and Luke Woods were going to everyone's college talking about Black student success and what needs to happen as relates to Black students. It also has to go through with Dr. Pam Luster and Timil Gurkerson, who are the President Emeritus at San Diego Mesa College and also the Chancellor of Peralta Community College District as they work through the Equity Avengers. It also has to do with Dr. Dollar Cooper, who came back when the bill came out and said, Dr. Curry, these numbers don't make sense regards to completion. We need to have a conversation as it relates to that. It also has to do with Dr. Herb English, who testified in front of the Assembly Education Committee with Dr. Luke Woods talking about Black student success and his own experience at Pomona, coming up through Pomona. It also had to do with Dr. Teresa Aldrich, who's an OG. If you go look at the video from the last time we spoke at the Assembly Higher Ed Committee about the funding bill, she stepped up there and was ready to fight about Black student success and also funding. Also, Dr. Gina Garcia, professor at UC Berkeley, who came into the conversation about the bill and serviceness, but also helping us try to figure out the data components along with individuals on this call. And then also Dr. Mike Munoz, who's been involved in the conversations that we're right now of how to build more coalitions with our Latino brothers and sisters as it relates to this work. So when we think about Black student success and Black serving institutions, there's multiple individuals who have been involved in this work. But in order for this to go forward, we need you. You got an email this afternoon at about 12:30 that talked about the legislative and the advocacy for this, to please sign up and share with other people, because Assembly Bill 335 is important. It's great that we have a designation, but if we don't have the money to support that designation, then the work is going to fall. We need your help. Assembly Bill 335, which is a part of our platform, we need you to share that with everyone that you know. All they have to do is go in there and include their personal information and sign up in support of Assembly Bill 335, but also the Black Student Success Advocacy. This work is being done by a lot of great people that's on this call, and they have been involved in this work. Please give them a round of applause because they have been in this from day one. And also, I'd like to thank Carmel is on the call to come on camera, and also Rena from the league, who have been playing behind the scenes as relates to Black student success, and also Dr. Eric Handy as well. I want to make sure that they get their acknowledgement, because all the things that's happening for Black student success behind the scenes, they have done it, and also our planning committee. But again, everybody on this call, this is your time for you to step up and be involved, not only by submitting the advocacy, but also for college campuses to submit the Black Serving Institution application, which is due on June 6th. That is the deadline. We have to show people that not only did we get legislation passed, but we also have institutions that are Black serving institutions in California. This is a beginning of a movement. It's not just about California. This is a national movement as it relates to Black serving institutions. So anyone that you see on the screen is someone that you can reach out to regards to Black serving institutions. Anybody want to say anything before we let them go?
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Chief Curry, you the man. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Dr. Wood. Blessings to you.
Dr. Curry, Dr. Wood, thank you so much, brothers. Appreciate you.
And Luke forgot to wear his jacket.
I sure did. I sent you a text. I have my Compton College jacket, but could not get back. We just finished at a Minicolor conference doing a speech here at Folsom Lake College, and got started late.
It's all good. So we'd like to say thank you very much, everyone. We have a couple slides to show you, but thank you. Look forward to Black Student Success Week 2026, year 7.